traditional rice production in Ifugao is divided into two phases, namely, field preparation and rice production. These are subdivided into 4 seasons of unequal duration in the agricultural calendar, namely, the Kiwang or the off-season, the Lawang or the field preparation and planting season, the Tialgo or the dry season, and Ahitulu or the harvest season. Keenness on the effects of astrologic and seasonal changes on the crops prompted Ifugao forebears to carefully plan each agricultural work within a year to prevent crop failure. The systematic scheduling of tasks in rice cultivation exemplifies an efficient organization of agricultural work. The Kiwang is the longest season with rainy and cold days as well as typhoons. It begins in late July after the last ritual holiday of the preceding harvest until November. Rice fields are left to fallow to regain their fertility. Meanwhile, woodlots are planted and sweetens are harvested and replanted. Moreover, prestige feasts are usually held during this period as there is abundance of food. In the early part of August, small groups of women return to the field to cut back the dead and rotting rice plants. Then, they are traded into the mud to decay, thereby enhancing soil fertility. Terrace walls, including the paddies, dikes, and surroundings, are cleared. Water outlets are blocked to raise water levels in the rice terraces. At the same time, they make mounds called inado or pingkol at the center of the rice field or at the sides of the rice terraces for planting vegetables. This time also, they can gather shells and fishes from the rice plants for food. Meanwhile, clearing of the other parts of the rice fields are done. Later, sunflower leaves are mixed with mud to enhance soil fertility. And if there are parts of the rice fields that were destroyed during the previous agricultural year, especially terrace walls, these are repaired. The Lawang or field preparation and planting season runs from late November until March. As soon as the women finished clearing the field, the men take their turn in the field work. Dikes are repaired and reshaped. Pond fields are leveled, drained of water, and seedbeds are prepared. Any living organism that might eat the seeds or deter their germination is also removed. Before the rice grains are brought out to the rice fields for sowing, the Loa ritual is performed. One chicken is offered to the sky-world deities so that they will allow the seeds to germinate well and be protected from pests and calamities. Then, the carefully selected rice grains are brought out for sowing. Seeding is done only in the afternoon so that fowls will not devour it. Rice panicles are laid one by one on the seedbed. On the other hand, other rice varieties may be threshed and sown randomly. After sowing, the panel ritual is performed to seek the favor of the deities so that the seeds may germinate well and be protected from pests and calamities. Then, a ritual rest day called Tungo is observed. No one is allowed to go to the rice fields, or else the deities may be provoked and their ire may cause poor germination and growth of the seedlings. After a month, The seedlings are mature and ready to be transplanted. Transplanting begins from December to March. Before transplanting is started, the walnut ritual is held to ask the deities to bless the seedlings so that they may grow well and yield abundantly. The owner of the biggest rice field, called the tumanak, initiates the first transplanting activity. After every farmer has finished transplanting rice seedlings in his or her own respective rice field, the kulpi ritual is held to thank the deities for the success of the transplanting season. Abundant rice wine is prepared, and every farmer partakes in the merrymaking. Meanwhile, the deities are again implored to protect the rice crops from pests and calamities so they may grow healthy and mature well. The tialgo or dry season runs from late March until late June. By this time, the rice seedlings are growing. Therefore, farmers devote their time in maintaining the rice crops. Water source and irrigation channels are continually monitored and cleared to ensure water supply to the rice fields. Irrigation water is distributed to the rice fields through bamboo channels. On the other hand, water in the pan fields is balanced by constant maintenance of spillways. During rainy season, spillways are expanded to allow exit of water. During dry season, spillways are closed to prevent water loss. Before weeding the rice crops and the terrace marginal walls, the permission of the deities is sought through the hagop-hop ritual so that only the weeds may wilt and not the rice crops. In case of armyworms attack, the holok ritual is performed. Herbs are selected, chopped, and mixed to make a potent compound against the pests. Chickens are sacrificed to the deities, and certain restrictions are observed. When rats infest the rice crops, the hulin or tagtag ritual is performed to drive away the rats from the fields. Wooden implements and bamboo clappers are used. As soon as the crops boot, the farmers put up scarecrows and tie strings to ward off birds from eating the spikelets. Then, the bodad ritual is performed to seek the blessing of the deities so that the grains may be full, heavy, and mature well. Also, the paad ritual is held. From this time on, the farmers must refrain from eating all kinds of aquatic foods, otherwise the spikelets will not bear grains. Furthermore, the thunderstorm and typhoon rituals, otherwise known as gito and puo, are performed to implore the deities to spare the crops from being destroyed. The harvest season, called ahitulu or ahiani, is the shortest season in the Ifugao calendar. It runs from late June to July, and it concludes the agricultural year. To test the grains if they are ready to be harvested, the hanglag ritual is held. Early bundles of rice are ripped from the rice fields and toasted to make crisp rice. Meanwhile, the mumbaki or the traditional priest invokes the deities to hasten the ripening of the grains. On the eve before the scheduled day of harvest, a chick is offered to the deity of covetousness, called umamo, so they may be appeased and not interfere during harvest and cause trouble among the workers or cause the yield of the crop to decrease. Harvest starts the following day. Once again, the first to harvest his or her rice field is the tumanak, or the village agricultural leader. Very early in the morning, before the other harvesters arrive, a small group of women select the best grains for sowing in their next cropping season. Women harvest the grains. They chant the hudud to create a cheerful atmosphere and ease their tiredness. As for the men, they carry the harvested rice to the rice granary or to the village. Abundant rice wine is served both at the village and at the rice field to relieve the workers' thirst and weariness. The deities are implored by the Mumbakis for miraculous increase of crop yield as well as for protection against theft and calamities. The newly harvested rice are dried under the sun the following day. After 3 days of drying, the grains are stored inside the granary and some are brought inside the house. When there is an exceptionally good harvest, a post-harvest Thanksgiving feast called Ubaya is held. Animal sacrifices consist of a pig and 5 chickens. Rice fields and the rice granary are blessed so that they may continue to yield abundantly. Some time later, the Luwa ritual is performed to seek permission from the deities for the people to eat shells and fishes as well as vegetables. Before the bundles of rice are brought out from the granary for consumption, the Apuy ritual is held. The deities are supplicated to make the rice supply last until the next harvest season. After a while, the Bakle festival is held. Rice cakes are prepared at the rice granary of the Tumunak. Farmers help in pounding the glutinous rice into flour. Then, drinking and feasting are done. Meantime, the granary rice gods are brought out to witness and partake of the feast. To close the season, the Huap ritual is performed. This literally means to cover. All instruments and paraphernalia used during the agricultural ritual performances are kept